Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. I'm going to speak about a topic, and before I speak about this topic, I want to put a disclaimer on what I'm saying. I'm going to be speaking about gaslighting and this type of emotional manipulation and lying, and essentially it's a very, very toxic relationship which results and it has a person questioning reality and thinking that, you know, they're going crazy. Before I speak about it though, like I said, my disclaimer is that there are a lot of people who they use these kind of terms and they throw these terms around in order to deflect their own shortcomings and in order to deflect their own weaknesses onto somebody else, okay? And I'm very much against that. I'm very much against pigeonholing people and their behavior, because there are so many variables that we need to consider, and I'm against just labeling some, just throwing that label on them, and then just labeling them as a gaslighter or labeling them as a narcissist and that kind of thing. And to be honest, you know, the truth being the truth, and inshallah I don't shy away from the truth, it's mostly the sisters who throw around these kind of terms as a result of failed marriages, and it always takes two hands to clap. But in the last few days, I have dealt with situations from both males and females, from the perspective of brothers and sisters, which have sort of involved real gaslighting and real emotional manipulation and emotional abuse, okay? Gaslighting is essentially where an abuser makes you question the reality. So let's say there's a husband who's cheated on his wife, okay? She confronts him, and then by means of gaslighting, what essentially he does is he twists the narrative and he manipulates it and makes her believe or makes her question what she has actually seen or what she's found out, makes her end up thinking that actually she's the one going crazy and he's the innocent party here. And so he was the one that was to blame. He was the one that had the problem. She has come to him with that, and then he has twisted and he has manipulated her and he's tied her up with lies and half-truths and sort of deflection tactics and a guilt trip. How can you come to me like this? I can't believe this, blah, blah, blah. And then she's ended up thinking, actually, I'm the one going crazy here. I'm the one thinking that there's a problem here. So he hasn't accepted what he's done. He hasn't sort of said, you know, hands up, this is what I was involved in. And then he has, you know, he's turned it around on her, and she's now left feeling like a bit of a mug. And this is this is one of the should we say, the practical applications of somebody, or practical examples of somebody gaslighting another, okay? And there was a brother found out that, you know, his spouse, etc., was cheating on him, and you know, had photographic evidence, shall we say, and the person is the woman is you know, turning to tactics like gaslighting and guilt tripping and just out and out lying. And brothers and sisters, that's one thing that we've got to accept and understand, is that when a person does this and they try to you know, manipulate the situation, they're lying. This is lying, okay? What is there after truth? Illa dalal, except for falsehood. And so this is a form of lying. This is a form of manipulation. This is a form of actual abuse. And what it leads the person who's the victim of this, it leads them to actually question their own sanity. It leads them to question, Like, am I the one that's going crazy here? You know, like, and that's why on my previous video, which I put out, which was confronting a liar, because I wanted you to know what it takes, what's going to happen, what do people do. And if you're a person who goes into that, you need to understand there's very real problems here. Okay, I'm not the type of person who's going to say, oh, you need to seek clinical help, whatever. You need to fear Allah. You need to fear Allah, that when you are presented or confronted with something which is the truth, you shouldn't try to manipulate and lie and slither your way out of it. So the gaslighter traditionally, you know, I had somebody contact me just yesterday, and they were telling me that literally everything that I said, that the person first is gonna get angry. Oh my God, I can't believe you'd even think that about me. How dare you even come to me with that accusation? And then they're going to deny it. And they're going to get angry, and they're going to deny it. Then they're going to, put the guilt trip on you, and they're going to try and manipulate it. And they're going to come with different interpretations, even though you know the facts, okay? So we're not just talking about mere accusations. We're saying when the facts have been established, this is what that person's going to do. So they're going to come to you and they're going to deny it, and they're going to try and manipulate their way out. And then it's going to be this whole guilt trip. I'm so sorry. I'm guilty. I can't believe it. I'm full of remorse and all of that. And yet, for example, in the case of the sister, in the case of the woman who cheated, she was messaging the guy, okay, and they were, they had a history of committing zina, going to hotels and doing whatever they were doing, and then she was messaging the guy, and they were still messaging in the present. When she got confronted, then it was, oh, I've made tawbah for it, and and that was a one-off, and that was, it never happened after that. Yet the facts would indicate differently. So, where was the tawbah, for example, when this lady was constantly messaging this man after having committed zina with him, after doing whatever they've done on whatever number of occasions? Where was the tawbah when she was still continuing to message him? Okay, likewise with the brother, where is the tawbah? Where is the guilt and the grief when you are continuing to cheat and continuing to meet that person for zina and other than that? So the tawbah only comes in, and the grief only comes in when they're confronted and the person is firm, and then they realize there's nowhere to go. Okay, and so I'm just giving you an example, and then it's this whole, oh, but it was, then they try and downplay it. Oh, but it was only that one time, it was only this, and oh my God, you're making such a big deal out of it, and they're trying to make you out to be the villain, like I said. And so this is a tactic. Again, the disclaimer I want to mention to you, so many people, they come out with this, oh, it's this person, he was gaslighting, or you're gaslighting me right now. And so many people, they pigeonhole you. And like I said, that's because they don't want to accept their own blame in the situation, or they don't want to accept that they're the one at fault. So sometimes the one accusing of gaslighting is the one doing the gaslighting. So, like I said, that's why I don't really like these terms. I prefer to simplify it. Truth, falsehood, manipulation, lying, abuse. I think these, if we break it down into its component parts, that's more important. And the problem is, brothers and sisters, is that as we as a people drift further away from the Quran and the Sunnah, as people become less trustworthy, as people become more corrupt, we're going to get involved in this more and more often. And it leads to a toxic relationship. It leads to a relationship where often the only thing in these kind of relationships is the physical aspect. The physical aspect, and what it leads to actually is that the physical aspect is what's the glue that's holding them together. So then basically you're just involved, you're just in it for the physical, and you feel worthless all of the time, but you only feel like you have some worth when there's a physical that physical connection, i.e. you have relations, what that then turns into is a very, very toxic situation where you don't trust a person, you don't respect a person, you don't love a person, there's no stability in that relationship, and you're only in it for basically the relations. My advice is, if you're involved in this kind of relationship, you need to address the problems. If there are children involved, then it's more worthy that we try to fix it. If there aren't children involved and this person is not changing, my general advice is to consider your options and consider actually getting out of this marriage and walking away from this relationship, because it's not good for you. It's not good for your mental state of mind. This person will never change unless Allah has immense mercy on them and they change their ways. But like I said, these kind of behaviors, they're so ingrained in a person from a young age that this is how they've got through life. This is how people, and it gets even worse when they have family and friends who enable them to do that. So they have a family who just supports them no matter what. They don't have anybody in their family to set them straight and who's gonna, deal with them with an iron hand and an iron rod to say, fix yourself up because you're corrupt, you're this, you're this. Everybody's like, mashallah, our husband, or rather our son, our daughter can do no wrong. The problem is when you have that combined with a person who is, has these traits, because then the person is very often just not going to change. So we ask Allah that He fixes our corruptions and the diseases and the illnesses that we are all suffering with. We ask Allah that He makes us truthful, and that He makes us from those people who affirm the truth even when it's against us. And we ask Allah that He protects us from lying and deceiving and manipulation. And we ask Allah that He doesn't write us down in those people who keep telling lies until they are labeled as a liar, and their lying leads to evilness and wretchedness, which leads to the hellfire. We ask Allah that in this month of Ramadan 2022, we ask Allah that He fixes our affairs, He fixes our relationships. Those people who are good for us, we ask Allah that He brings them closer to us and strengthens our relationships and makes them firm. Those who are the shayateen, then we ask Allah that He keeps us away from them. We ask Allah that He protects us from them, their plots, their plans, their temptations, their deviations. And we ask Allah that He accepts our good deeds in this month. Ultimately, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He is the most knowing, Al-Alim Al-Hakim. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.